Hello everyone, my name is Shonda and welcome to my channel Under the Needle. So I am here today with a quick video. This is going to be my September haul. If you watched my haul video for August, it was pretty insane. I bought so much fabric in the month of August, like it was ridiculous. And so I wanted to do less for the month of September. Even though it was my birthday month, I wanted to buy less fabric for September and October, just because I know that in November and December and January there are going to be a ton of deals. Like it is, like if it's anything like last year, like it's gonna be, I'm gonna be able to find all kinds of great stuff. And I'm about out of space. I've been making a bunch of quilts lately to use up some of my fabric, but despite the fact that I am working on like my third or fourth quilt in like 2 months, I have not made that big of a dent in my stash. So I'm going to continue to try to sew some quilts over the next couple of months, and we'll see what happens. So I'm going to show you guys what I got this month. I did really well. So I got some things that I needed. So I had purchased a while ago this little foot for my sewing machine, because it doesn't have a skinny foot and I wanted a skinny foot. But there's a little piece of metal that kind of goes into that hole right there, and it fell out. So I had to buy another one because I love this foot. So that's this here. Normally I have a 1/4 inch piecing foot that I use, but when you are doing certain things like half square triangles, where you're like doing the 8 at a time method, or if you're doing triangle paper or anything like that, that guide that's on the side kind of, for me, gets in the way. And so when I'm having to do other types of piecing, I just prefer a foot like this. So I had to repurchase this. I don't think that the one I had initially was a genuine Janome product. I'm pretty sure that it wasn't, actually, because when I look at this, because the one that I had, like, it had a ton of flex in it. Like it could almost like completely like bend, but this one doesn't. And it doesn't, with the old one you could kind of see where the metal rod was kind of pushed in, and with this one it looks different because it doesn't look to be like a removable little, you can't even see, it's not removable, it's like just welded in there. So I think this is going to be a lot better, and so I'm excited. I've been using it, it's been great. I also had to replace, and I was pretty ticked about this, so the Janome machine that I have comes with this walking foot, right? And it's like, it's got different attachments that you can put on it, but it completely fell apart. So again, see the hole here? That was kind of holding things together, and the metal rod came out, and so my entire foot came apart. So this little piece down here, that's for the walking foot, the integrated walking foot. And so because of that metal piece falling out, my entire foot fell apart, and like there was like a spring in here that I can't find, and the metal piece that I can't find, because they're little tiny, well, I found the spring piece, but I couldn't find the little metal piece to put this back together. So I had to buy another foot. Now I will say this one looks to be a little bit better made. It doesn't look to be it looks like they changed that metal piece that goes in the hole there. At least I think they did. I hope they did. So I'm hoping this one lasts a bit longer, because it's not cheap. This little sucker was $35. But without it, I can't use the integrated walking foot on my sewing machine. I would have to go back and use like the older style one that you have, that you just kind of attach to the machine. And the whole point of having the machine that I have is that I have this foot, and it makes things easier to where I can sew faster with this than I can with the one that you can just, the secondary one that you can just buy and add on. So I think it was like $53 on Amazon, but I found it, I think, at like Sew and Vac or something like that, and it was like $35. So I had to buy that. So those were things that I needed. So I really don't really count them as extra stuff like fabric and patterns, because those are things that I need to actually sew and that I don't have because the ones that I had are broken. So a little different. I also got a few patterns this month. The first one I got is a pattern called Lemon Squeezy by Piccolo Design Studios or something like that. This is what the quilt looks like. It's basically kind of like a square and a square type variation. I thought it was cute. I liked it. So I got it. And I don't know how much of my love for this pattern is the fabric that she used or the pattern itself. So here's another look at it. But it's kind of log cabin-y, kind of square and a square. But it looked interesting, so I purchased that pattern. Another pattern that I purchased was this Pathways pattern. Now, I liked this one because I just did. And I think it's the colorway, because red, white, and black is a colorway that I like a lot to wear. Not so much in my quilting, but to wear. But that's really not why. I mean, that's what kind of drew me to it. But the reason I purchased it was because the big blocks. So we have some complexity here in the design. It's kind of modern, but not too modern. I can change up the colors to whatever I want. And I also liked the fabric requirements, because most of the prints that are in this use it's a piece of fabric that's 20 inches or less. And so I have a lot of half yards that are cut generously that would be able to be used for this pattern. There are two prints that use more. I think one uses about 40 inches, so about 1¼ yards, and one uses 50 inches of fabric. And those are for the, the two fabrics that you see the most in here, which I think is the this medium gray here that kind of goes across and down, and it's also up here. So that one's a little bit more fabric, but I was just drawn to this because I felt like it would go together relatively easy. You could tell that it's basically half square triangles, which means that it's going to be pretty easy to do and pretty easy to piece. And if you change the size of the half square triangles, you can change the size of your quilt. So I liked this one. So this was the Pathways quilt pattern. This was by quiltersdreamfabrics.com. And the last pattern that I purchased was this one here. I don't know when I'm going to make this, but I have a feeling that I'm probably going to make a block in the next 7 days. Within the next week, I'm going to make a block. I know it. I know it. Because this is sparrows. Look at these little birds. I thought these birds were adorable. Absolutely adorable. I know I won't make the whole quilt right now because I know that, these little pieces are not what I have time for right now. The little beak and the little tail and the little pieces of the body. You're literally working with pieces that are 1¼ by 2½. Some of the pieces. 2½ by 4½. Small pieces. The beak. 1¾ inch squares for the beak. So, and then you have the little eye. Also, that's it. Oh shoot, wrong way. The little eye has to be pieced as well. So, I like this pattern because it's all pieced no applique, no paper piecing. So it's all traditionally pieced. And the sparrows are just adorable. But there's a lot of work that goes into this block. There's a diagram, but I can't show it to you because it would be, if I showed you the diagram of how the pieces go together, then you'd be able to copy the pattern, and that wouldn't be right for me to do. But I think that this is adorable. I have not read through the entire pattern, but just to give you an idea how thorough it is, like, that's a lot of instruction. Let's see here, hold on. So we have the first bit of instruction, right? That's all instruction. And then we have a whole another page of instruction here. And then we have a whole other page of instruction here. And then the back. Like, there is a lot of written instruction here, like a lot. So it does really look like the pattern designer really took her time writing this pattern. There's literally 44 steps, including the borders. That's a lot of instruction. So again, I haven't had an opportunity to read through it. When I make a test block, I'll read through the entire pattern and I'll have a better idea. But as far as the patterns go, and I have a lot of them, free and paid, I don't think that I've ever seen a pattern with this amount of written instruction, ever. But, you know, I haven't seen some patterns. So, like the Elizabeth Hartman patterns, I've not purchased one of her patterns. I'm really looking at the Fancy Fox 2 one. I'm looking at that really hard. But I haven't seen any of her patterns. So maybe those are as detailed as well, or maybe some of those other animal type patterns are just as detailed as this. I don't know, but this was a lot. Another reason that I was drawn to this was because of the fabric requirements. I have a lot of half yards, and that is basically what this fabric is made from. The birds' bodies are made from 4 different half yards. There's another half yard for the beak and tail, and then another half yard for the little half square triangles. So I can easily pull from my stash to do this, but I'll probably just grab some scraps when I make my test block. So those are the 3 patterns I got, and I did get a little fabric, just a little. So if you watch any of my other videos, you know I subscribe to Stashing with Stephanie. This was the bundle that we got for the month of September. I liked this a lot, so I did get some coordinating yardage to finish out the collection. So I got a quarter yard of this. I really wanted quarter yards, but these were remnants. There really wasn't a lot of fabric left. By the time I decided to pull the trigger, there just wasn't a lot left. So I got a quarter yard of this, and then half a yard of these 4. Now this white one was already in my bundle, but I felt like it was such a good neutral that I might be able to use a little bit more of it. So I got a half yard of that. So these are the 4 prints that I got. So we have like some onions and beets on green. We have the onions and beets on red. And we have the orange with dark orange dots. And then we have the white or cream with multicolor dots. So I did get those to round out that collection. And I did get some of Stephanie, because Stephanie Sebbing does Quilt Addicts. She owns Quilt Addicts Anonymous, and she curates that Stashing with Stephanie box. And she came out with a fabric line earlier this year. And if you watch my channel, you know that I don't do full price fabric. I don't like to pay full price. I think that, you know, $12 a yard is pretty friggin' steep. I think it's a lot of money. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think that it needs to be as expensive as it is, but we have turned a utilitarian necessity for warmth in our, you know, in our grandparents' day, maybe not my grandmother, she's not that old, but maybe our great-grandparents' day. I mean, my grandmother's old, but, you know, she's not like 100 old. She's like 83, 2, something like that. So she never sewed a thing in her life. I mean, except like darning socks and like repairing clothing. But she never made a quilt in her life. And neither did my great-grandmother, as far as I know. So maybe we need to go back a little bit further. But it was certainly something that people used what they had on hand to make quilts. And now we're spending $12 a yard or more. But I really liked this line. I think it came out earlier this year, and I really debated as to if I was going to purchase it or not because it's expensive. But then it went out of stock. Like, it all sold out. It was out of stock, and I was like, great, it's out of stock. I don't have to be tempted anymore, so I'm good. But it came back in stock, and but I still didn't buy it. But when I was on the website purchasing the coordinating yardage that I just showed you, I saw that the remaining stock was kind of dwindling, and if I did want to buy this, I kind of had to jump on it. And at the end of the day, the deciding factor for me was the uniqueness of the line. I have not seen anything like this. I find that the color scheme is unique. It's a bit more masculine, yet still feminine, which I actually really appreciate. And the prints are different. I just found the whole thing just unique. And there was one print that I could not get because it was sold out. So that's unfortunate for me, but I was able to get everything else. And I'm going to show you guys the line. Like I said, I just feel like it's so unique. It's called Nocturne. And it features the most adorable little owls. So we have these two prints, which is kind of like a feather. So we have like the silver / gray and the green. And then we have this kind of trellis pattern. And so we have like a navy with green. The green is like a chartreuse. It really kind of pulls the whole line together. And then we have the turquoise with green. And then we have kind of the turquoise on turquoise with some dark navy. I love this line. I love this line. So I got half yards, right? So that's kind of what I like to do, because to get a yard, I mean, sometimes to buy a collection, you're looking at anywhere from 12 to 20 prints on average, sometimes more. So to get a yard, that's 12 times 12. That's $144. Is that right? $144 just for 12 prints. And if there's more, then it's like that, it just starts to really add up. So I like to collect half yards because it's a bit more economical, and it's generally going to be enough anyway to make anything that I want to make. Because if you get a yard, what are you really going to do with it? You're going to have to cut it down. There's not a lot of patterns that are for a collection of 1 yards. And even if there were, you would have so much fabric left over. Like, if you had a yard of everything and you had a pattern that only needed 20 fat quarters, you still got 3/4 of a yard left of 20 prints. That's a lot. So half yards work for me. Nexus is really unique. It's kind of it's a wood grain. You can't even really see it, but it's like a wood grain. I'm gonna see if it shows better on the lighter print, maybe. Yeah. So you can kind of see it's like a wood grain. It almost looks like wood grain quilting. And I have that in 3 colors. We have the turquoise, and we have the black, and we have the navy. So this is the print that I couldn't get. The print that I was missing, this same wood grain is in the gray. So the gray from the feathers, they had a wood grain in that same colorway. So that was the only print that was completely out of stock that I was not able to get my hands on. Stephanie really has a great eye for mixing prints, right? Like she understands that you have to have some large scale, like if you want to use the entire quilt in one, the entire line in one quilt, that you really need some place to rest your eyes. You need large scale prints, and then you need smaller scale prints, and then you need blenders. And she gets that. I've gotten bundles where the entire line is pretty much prints of all the same scale, you know. So without that balance and that diversity of print size, you know, things sometimes don't come together quite as well as they could. The next print is this one here. This is kind of like a grunge-ish type print, kind of like a Tim Holtz distressed warehouse district-y type of, you know, print. And I love these. I love these, especially this. Like if I could have a bolt of this, I probably would. Just love it. I love them both. So I have those two prints. And the last two prints that I have, actually no, there's still 4 more left. So we have these large scale owls. I think, is that my phone? Hello? Let me call you right back. All right. That was my honey. But I want to finish this video. Sorry. So the large scale owls, I have half a yard of this as well. Love this print. Love this print. Okay. So we have it in the turquoise. These owls can be fussy cut, and then she has a video on this, on fussy cutting this fabric and fussy cutting the owls. So just awesome. And then we have that same print in the gray. And then our last two prints, I have a smaller scale owl. And the owls rotate all over, so the fabric is not directional. And then we have this same print in the gray. So this is the line. I'm going to try, it's pretty big. Try to show it up. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So we have 14 pieces here. So there were 15 prints in the line, and I have 14 of them. But this is it here. I just think it all goes together so well. That chartreuse print really just kind of ties everything together. Apologies, my video got cut off. I'm not exactly sure exactly where. I think I was holding up the bundle, and when I put it down, I accidentally stopped the video. So here's again, the line. And like I was saying, the chartreuse just really brings everything together. There's really only one print that has that green, that's like solely this green. Everything else is really either gray, black, or some shade of green. I mean, some shade of blue. So we have the turquoise, and then we have some navy. But this kind of brings everything together, I feel like, because you have it in this print, you have that chartreuse in this print here, and you have the chartreuse in these two prints as well. So I feel like it's just very, very well balanced and put together. And that's basically how I feel about everything that Stephanie curates. It's why I like her box, you know, the Stashing with Stephanie subscription so much, because I just really appreciate the balance. She chooses lines that are balanced with, you know, different print scales and good color variation. So that is my haul for the month of September. Again, I did much better, and I'm super proud of myself. So that's all I have for today, and I will see you next video. I completely forgot one of my items, so I had to add on to this video. I am so sorry. I completely forgot one of the items. So there was one other thing. I probably just wanted to forget that I bought it, you know, because that was enough. What I showed you was enough, and so I didn't need to add this on. But anyway, so I got this quilt kit, right? It's a Riley Blake quilt kit, and it's called Layers Josh. Now, I don't know if I'll make this quilt or not. I really don't. I have no idea, but I liked the concept. First of all, the pattern is a paid pattern. This pattern is $13. I got this entire kit for $45. It was originally $150. And then on fabric.com, they do Act Fast Fridays where they mark things 50% off. And so this particular kit has always been marked down to $75 because that's half of $150, right? But for this day, it was marked down to like $45. And the pattern alone was $13. So that's what, 45, 35, that's $33 just for the fabric. Now this fabric features Riley Blake gemstones, right? And so it's kind of like an ombre ish type fabric, but it goes from selvage to selvage. So I don't know if you can see, but we start here at a blue, kind of like a navy, and then we kind of advance to a purple. Let's see, is that showing? It's really not showing well, but you can kind of see how it's lighter. It's lighter over here. So it goes from like a navy to a purple, and then it kind of ends up in like a teal green. And they all have these little diamonds on there. So I got in this kit, I have 3 yards of this neutral latte color. Right, so this is just a solid, right? This is not a gemstone. This is just a solid kind of. It's not really. I guess you could call it cream or whatever. But 3 yards of this, right? And then for these gemstones, we have let's see how many different prints. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 9 prints, 9, and each is a yard. I think actually, no, one is actually a little bit more than a yard because it's for the binding. So this is 9, 10, 11, 12, like 12 and a half yards of fabric. 12 and a half yards of ombre fabric and a $13 pattern for $45. And that's why I got it. Because just the price of the fabric alone could not be beat. And you can't. So that's one of the prints. I don't want to open up all of these, but you kind of see the different prints. I don't want to open them up selvage to selvage, but again, it's very masculine. I don't know if the whole line is masculine, but I know that this particular collection of prints that I received is very masculine. There's some purple in here. And so I think that this could make a really nice, this particular collection of prints could make a very nice quilt for a male. And then we have, this one's a little lighter. And so the pattern designer basically said that she created this for her sons. Not the fabric, but the pattern. So basically this this pattern has 3 patterns in it. So this is the one I have. It's Josh. And then there's this one and this one for her other sons who are, I think, Andrew and I don't remember. But it's all the same block. So each pattern is devised of this same kind of this same block. But this one, of course, is the one that I have here, and it's got all the different prints in it. So I did grab this as well, but I don't regret this at all. I mean, you just 12 yards of fabric and a $13 pattern for $45. Like, I was sold. So the second I was on fabric.com on Friday last week and I saw this, I was all over it. I had actually ordered something else, but they ran out of stock. It was just a Kimberbell basic. It was a white tone on tone, like floral. that I thought would make a nice background for the Kimberbell fabric that I have. And I ordered 3 yards of it, but it sold out. And so I canceled that item off my order and was able to just get this. But so yeah, now that's really it. That's it for real. And that is, yeah, that's it for real. No more additional videos. And thank you for watching and have a great day.